Hello and welcome everyone, I'm C.S.Gilmore and this is Powerwash Simulator. As you can probably tell from my voice, I've got a little bit of a laryngitis issue here. A little bit of a light cold, but it's gone into my vocal cords. But not too bad. Psst, Power Washer, I've just joined the traveling carnival pitching up at the recreation ground. You may have seen us. Purchased a beautiful classic carousel, but I'm worried about being outgunned by the owners of the bigger rides. It's pretty filthy. I was going to clean it myself, but then I thought, what would happen if I gave her a deep clean and really made her pop? We'd want to slowly slide down a... Who'd want to slowly slide down a grubby helter-skelter when they can waltz round a pristine carousel, right? Make her ping and we'll both clean up. You'll arrive in a plain van, right? Don't want the competition to get the same idea. Alright, so yeah. We're going to head in here and do this. Well, wasn't expecting music. Switch off carousel? Alright, good. I can at least turn that off so I don't have to listen to music while I work on it. We covered over our logo. Lost cat. Elisis. Very fluffy. Please call the mayor. That's great. I love that we've used like lost cat posters as part of the cover. Big something strikes. Can't tell what. Alright, we have to look around this map a little bit, right? Hot popcorn, salt and sweet. Okay. Slam dunk, Wild West. Coming soon. Various toilets. Can't open the doors. Looks of it. Kind of surprised they didn't turn this into something. Alright. I would kind of laugh if there was a dunk tank around here that we could do something with. Yeah, this is quite a large area for just the carousel. Wonder why they have this much open space. Just so we could look around and have fun with it? Or is there something hidden? Yeah, it just seems like a lot of open space for this. Can't go back there? Alright. Tickets, there's that. I've got some good distance. Well, I don't know. Very interesting layout here. Yeah, I kind of wish there was a dunk tank that you could blast the target with. Alright. We have a lot of work to do on this one, it looks like. Let's see how dirty we're talking here. My name is Kevin Bernard, proprietor of Wanger Loof Carnival's Helter Skelter. Please state your business. Cleaning? I don't know. Not sure what that's about. That seemed like we were getting asked something by someone who didn't know why we're here, but somehow got our number still. Weird. Of course, I don't know how everyone's getting our numbers. Someone's... so it's either we've got it advertised somewhere or someone's been giving it out. Well, whatever the case. We will clean. While we clean, how about I talk about one of my favorite Warhammer novels? I never got around to talking about it when I was just plain talking about Warhammer novels while not doing a game. It's one I really should have talked about, but I kind of kept putting it off as like, yeah, one of my favorites. I don't want to cover it too quick, that sort of thing. I'm actually going to have to use a stock image, probably, or something to show you guys it, because I don't have a copy anymore, because I gave it to, I believe my cousin. Because it was like, hey, this is a great book, you should read it. Here, take it. That sort of deal. I've already read it. And the book in question is The Infinite and the Divine. If you're a fan of Necrons, it's a great book. Though not one of the more serious ones in a lot of ways. There's going to be rust on here I have to blast off. Great. Okay. But, yeah, Infinite and the Divine. And the reason it's called that is the main characters are Drazen the Infinite, Master of Slumnus, and also often known as one of the biggest thieves, Pokemon masters, and or collectors and preservationists in the 40k universe. Okay, they don't really know him as Pokemon master in the 40k universe, but I like to joke around about that because he throws these things called Tesseracts around to store, like an entire military regiment and other things. Kinda like Pokemon. Yeah, my voice. Anyway, I'll have to be a bit of a deeper voice today, apparently, to make it work. There we go. And the other reason, the divine part, is due to the other main character, Orican, the diviner. And so Orican's whole thing is he's a time mage for he's what are they called? A cryptech? I think. Basically, yeah, tech abilities that are basically magic. With how advanced and crazy they are. And his specialty is time manipulation. And by that I mean he is a master of time manipulation, not just I dabble in it a little bit. Yeah, he's a master of it. Most Necrons, even, who are familiar with the field, would struggle to turn back time a couple times, and for more than a tiny, like a small fraction of time, is my understanding. Orican can basically repeat time ad nauseum, and can do it for the space of, well, I'm not quite sure how long exactly, but a good chunk of time. And the story kind of feels like imagine the Muppets. What are they names? Waldorf. Bother what? The two old guys that they always sit and heckle everyone. I can't remember what they were called. Anyway, basically imagine them, but if they hated each other. Because Orican and Drazen do not get along. They don't like each other. But as the story progresses, they get kind of forced to work together because some of the Necron Council basically tells them to do so or else. As kind of a punishment for trouble causing. So, yeah. Where to go with this? I don't. It's been a little while since I read the story, so I'm probably gonna forget some parts. But there are some amazing parts to this story. I highly recommend. Get this book yourself. Read it. Listen to it on audiobook if you have to. But it's amazing. It is possibly one of my highest rated books for Warhammer 40k. Sorry, 1 second. Paranoia that this isn't recording correctly. It is. We're okay. Good. So, a lot of it has to do with this one planet, and you'll get a really good sense of. You get a good bit of sense for how the Necrons view things, like time. They're eternal. They view themselves as eternal. They are robotic bodies. They don't need to eat, drink, sleep, etc., and so forth. And anyone that thinks they do are probably suffering from the flare virus and not doing so hot. Anyway, so it all cycles around this one planet. I can't remember the name of it, but it goes through. You see it throughout several ages, because this book spans thousands of years. I forget how many exactly, but a lot. And it starts off with some Exodites. Eldar Exodites are Eldar that, after the whole birthing Slanesh shenanigans went and happened, they decided to try to deal with things by basically going more primitive. So they're the ones that ride on dinosaurs and weird things like that. Yes, they have dinosaurs, and yes, they ride them into combat. And Trazyn, being the collector he is trying to get something of theirs. I forget what it was exactly. It was some sort of thing that was like the center of their whole civilization on this planet, like part of their temple. And Trazyn, of course, wants it because it's a rare thing, and he's going to get it and preserve it no matter what. And the reason Trazyn is called Trazyn the Infinite, by the way, is because, say he dies, which happens a lot more than you might think, then he just instantly becomes another member of his dynasty. Or rather, another member of his dynasty becomes him. Like, fully upgraded to Necron Lord from a basic warrior build. Doesn't matter. He becomes Trazyn, and Trazyn becomes himself, and voila, and he's back. So Trazyn comes tearing in, trying to steal this thing, gets blasted by something or eaten by a dinosaur. I forget exactly what happens. And, comes right back again after that, because in a different body. And eventually he gets what he's after, he gets out of there, that sort of thing. And that's how part of the story starts. Great way to introduce Trazyn and his ridiculous shenanigans of, whatever, I'm eternal. I'm getting this thing, I'm collecting it and keeping it. And the steps and the distance he will go to do that. And he's known by other Necrons as being this kleptomaniac that they have to watch out for as is, because he'll take other Necrons' stuff just as likely as he'll take anyone else's stuff. He doesn't care. Interesting symbols. Hey there, are you free to come over to the national park? I have a treehouse that sorely needs desliming and degriming if you can put the time in. Interesting. I see you have commenced work and that you are a pressure washer. Yes. Yes. I'm guessing this Kevin Bernard is maybe one of... Surely Stacy doesn't seriously think that cleaning her carousel will make it a more attractive prospect than my towering helter-skelter. Ah, okay, so yeah, it's competition. Got it. That explains why you didn't know who I was here and all that. And yeah. Alright. Well, anyway. Yeah. I forget exactly what led to everything. Well, for some reason, Orican and Trazyn end up crossing paths, ticking each other off. I think it was they were trying to get hold of the same thing. Because there was a device of some sort. I think it was the thing that Trazyn stole from the Eldar. I'm trying to remember for sure. But either way, he wants it for his collection, and Orican wants it for... I forget what. Power source? I don't remember. Either way, they both want... They keep fighting over it over the years. Or they fight over something over the years. And so there's a whole bunch of back and forth of... So, Orican, his mastery of time reversal is also, basically, he's immortal in his own way. Because anytime anything would give him fatal damage, he just rewinds time until it doesn't and changes history slightly to rewrite things and do things differently. They have a whole bunch of back and forth with this of, like them blasting each other, killing each other, Trazen coming back in and out of their body, Orkin just rewinding time so he doesn't quite die. That sort of deal, and they have a lot of back and forth with all that. At one point, Trazen picks up after one of their encounters, Trazen picks up a piece of Orkin's cloak, I want to say it was, and being Trazen, sticks in, I want to say, his pocket, or attaches it to his own cloak. I forget all the details. He it's Trazen. He picks stuff up. Anyway, after doing some damages to each other and some of the Dynasty stuff, they get in a bit of trouble with the Necron Council fighting over this thing and causing trouble. And Trazen, being the troublemaker he is oddly well prepared for court. And Orkin is trying to get him in trouble without getting in trouble himself. And keeps rewinding time because Trazen keeps getting out of trouble with the court and with the hearing and everything. And so Trazen keeps Orkin keeps rewinding time, and to a huge extent. Not only multiple times, I think it was over 100 iterations, I believe he mentions, but also to the point that he's going back far enough to change out the members of the council and the jury to a degree. Don't know how exactly, but he's rearranging so many things, trying to make it in his favor, because Trazen keeps talking his way out of situations, working things out so he's not in trouble, or the Orkin's in trouble, and it's just not going Orkin's way. And so Orkin keeps having to reset and reset and reset and reset, trying to get him into trouble. And Trazen Kai is starting to catch on that something's off. And the reason he's catching on that something's off, while no one else is because he has picked up this piece of Orkin's cloak or whatever that is a material that is resistant to time dilution or whatever. I think it's how Orkin can rewrite time and not forget about it. Or ties in with that somewhat. And, because Trazen has one of those, in his pocket, a piece of that cloak, he's not entirely aware of the change, but he's also not entirely unaware of the change. He gets the weird sense of deja vu throughout this whole thing. And basically ends up coming down to the best scenario that they end up being stuck in is they get told, quit fighting, you have to work together now to deal with some stuff. Basically, you're on probation. Don't screw up again, don't cause us more trouble. And that's the scenario they kind of end up in. During some other situations, they keep going back to this one planet. And over time, the planet goes from being an Eldar Exodite world to being run by, I'm trying to remember how many races make it on there. I don't remember if the Tau were present for a bit or not. I know the Imperium eventually gets it. Whatever the case was, Orcs may have been involved at one point too, for all I remember. I can't really remember. All I know is you see the planet change over time, changing hands. Goes from the Exodites to being, the Imperium eventually. And, the shenanigans. They learned that, I think part of the reason Orkin wide the device also was, it was part of a key to something. Anyway, they discover some weird stuff on the planet, it's got an old dolmen gate, where basically, they're teleporters, but it's a special one that only opens up under certain conditions, once every stupid amount of time. And so Trazen one, of course, wants to get in there and, preserve whatever's in there. And because it could be something amazing. They're part of their thing is also they want, if they could find an original Necron, that would be amazing. Someone that didn't go through biotransference. they could go and use, like, maybe use that to eventually unnecronize themselves, unrobotize themselves again. Is part of the hope, because some of the Necrons don't want to be Necrons anymore, in that sense. They want to be their original selves more. Though maybe without the super cancer that their race has issues with. Anyhow, lots of stuff goes down. Trazyn at one point thinks it would be funny to maybe get back at Orican and sticks a Necron gene stealer on him. Not Necron, a Tyranid gene stealer, wow, on him. Which, of course, and that's part. I think that might have been before the court case, but anyway, because I remember Orican and him having some arguments about it. Orican be like, "You stick the thing on me," it was just and Trazyn's like, it was just a prank. If I'd wanted to kill you, I would have sent more than one after you. And trust me, I have more than one. Because Trazyn, has a bunch of stuff. And we also learn in this story that Trazyn has a lot of stuff in his collection that he doesn't fully understand himself, including a bunch of Tyranid stuff and other tech that he doesn't always know what it does. And is definitely probably not safe being just stuck in a collection somewhere. Or if it ever gets loose, oh boy. Trazyn has a massive collection, by the way, of all sorts of interesting things. We know from some other stories that he has a perfect clone of Fulgrim, the Emperor's Children Primarch, which was traded to him by Fabius Bile after Fabius created a perfect clone, but was worried that it would make the same mistakes as, or cause problems similar to the original Fulgrim, and he basically traded it to Trazyn in exchange for some perfect gene seed that had been preserved that Trazyn had somehow gotten hold of from the Vaults of Terra. Or they was supposed to have gone to the Vaults of Terra back in like the Horus Heresy days, but never made it because apparently Trazyn got hold of it. Yeah, fun things like that. And it's also, we see, Trazyn's perfectly willing to use his collection at times, so long as it's, something he can replace, or that he has more of. As long as he has spares, by Seaker, if a few of them get damaged. But if it's, a champion unit or something that can't be replaced, he's going to be a lot more protective of it. And a perfect clone of Fulgrim, a Primarch, is pretty shiny. So, yeah, that's in his collection. That is one thing we know for sure is confirmed in his collection by official Games Workshop lore, not just a fan story or something along those lines. That is a confirmed lore. Anyway, I'm getting off topic here. Trazyn's prank with the Gene Stealer, of course, has long-term consequences, because the Gene Stealer gets away after failing to fully kill Orican, though it does do some major damage to him, if I remember right. And he spends a very long time crawling, crippled through the earth. And I don't remember all the details of how that happened. Thrust. Please check your job planner as a matter of urgency. Okay, good. Sounds like we'll need more than one choice after this one. But, yes, my helter-skelter is filthy. Okay, so you're admitting to that? Right, you might want to fix that, man. Yes, this will affect performance. Oh, good. Maybe you should fix it. Yes, the slide itself is beset by sticking spots, which take considerable arm strength and willpower to get past. That sounds terrifying. Anyway, where was I? Oh, yes. Yeah. So, Gene Stealer gets loose and creates a gene stealer cult on the planet. And Orkin, of course, has a lot of interesting things. I forget whether it was during an orc invasion or something else. He had gotten involved in the planet's history multiple times. And one of those times involved him actually helping the planet, like the Imperium. I think it was against orcs. Anyway, so there's a statue in the town square of this settlement of Orkin, not Orkin, of Trazen. Blah, Trazen, not Orkin. Trazen is the one who helped save the planet. And at one point, him and Orkin are in disguise using some sort of tech to make it so they blend in. Just looking around the settlement, and Trazen's like, "Oh man, look at all this cool stuff! Look what they build." And Orkin's like, "They're a bunch of primates, and they're gonna die. This is all pathetic. Their technology is nowhere near ours, and all that stuff." And Trazen's like, "You don't understand how significant this is, or because they're so non-eternal, how important it is that we preserve some of this stuff." They're chatting and things like that. And also, but yeah, they have a statue in the town square of Trazen, but they've made, of course, they don't know it was Trazen, so they've made it look like a space marine that is strangely thin and skeletal-like. But Trazen knows it's of him. He's like, "Do you have a statue, Orkin? I don't think you do. I don't think someone's made a statue of you." And just the teasing between these two is phenomenal. It's amazing. I love it. All right, I'm going to. Oh, when did I swap to that nozzle? No wonder this has stopped cleaning so well. Okay. I was wondering why I was having some trouble. I must have accidentally hit the mouse wheel and swapped it without realizing because I was talking. Ah, that's so much better. Okay, now we're making progress again. But, yeah, that's hilarious. And also, Trazen is actually not a bad employer, it turns out. I mean, he's still, Trazen, and he'll kill people, no problem, without remorse, as needed, but, like, there's some scribe on the planet, and Trazen uses mind shackle scarabs to make sure he doesn't betray him. But this guy, like, knows Trazen and, like, works for him, basically. He's enslaved by mind shackle scarabs to a degree, so he can't not. But he has this conversation with this guy at one point, and the guy's thanking him for, making sure his children and grandchildren are taken care of and get into the good scolums and things like that. Because Trazen or make sure these things happen and that his people are taken care of. And then he's like, "Also, I've set up my replacement. The mind shackle scarab should be staying into my grandson or whatever soon, taking hold. He'll be serving you soon once I'm gone." Trazen's like, "What? What do you mean?" "Oh, I'm old and I will be dying soon. I've served you the past, 80 years or I forget, some long period for a human life. But for Trazen is, a blink of an eye." And he's like, "Wow, okay, you're already dying?" And then, Trazen's like, "Well, yeah, I promise I'll take care of your family and things like that. They'll be taken care of. Things will go well. But of course, I can't just let you go. I can't risk that you might tell someone about me in your last moments, and all that. But I can give you this gift of a quick death, a quick painless death, rather than the slow death that the guy was gonna die from otherwise. From I can't remember what cancer, etc. and so forth. But basically, he's like, one final gift for your years of service. I'll give you a quick, painless death. Well, it might hurt a little bit, but only for a moment." And he basically has the scarabs give the guy a massive stroke, or something like that, a brain aneurysm. And the guy just dies quickly, but in a way rather gratefully, quickly, and not and as painless as possible. And as far as we know, Trazen is fully going to, does or is going to take care of his family and all that. Though I don't know if that ever gets around to happening, because I believe shortly after that, some complications come up in the story. Remember, Gene Stealer cult. And Orkin and Trazen are on the planet at some point, waiting for the gate to get ready to the point where they can open it. Down in this caverns, way down underground. And we're very near the time when, but unfortunately, Trazen's little prank has had long-term effects, and the planet is now about to be have a new turnaround in its ownership, more or less. Trazen and Orkin go to a theater, and they're watching some play, and Orkin's, complaining about it, and Trazen's like, oh, but look at this history here. This is something you don't get to see every day. Necron plays take on a whole different meaning, because, they'll, do the War in Heaven replayed in real time. So, thousands of years, long play. So a normal length play for them is, just, oh, cool, that was super quick. Anyway, they're at this theater watching this play when all hell breaks loose and Gene Stealer cultists start, killing people and taking over. And it has this great line about, Orkin telling Trazen how he's an idiot. You guys front row seats to a coup. And yeah. Yeah, all hell breaking loose. Gene Stealer cultists taking over. Them dealing with it as well as they can. All sorts of chaos. And, of course, then Tyranid fleet starts invading. The planet is getting eaten. And I feel like there was something else going on. They ended basically on a bit of a time crunch to get to the gate. Because I want to say some Inquisitor wants to, exterminate the planet as a result of the whole Tyranid thing, or it may have been because the Tyranids were just plain eating everything and causing other problems. But anyway, they end up getting through the gate barely and catching it barely at the right time. Yeah, all that fun stuff. They do eventually get into the gate, and they find this lost vault of the Necrons. And it's got all this amazing stuff in it. Old stuff. I think even had some other Necrons in there, sealed away. Some of the less thinky ones, just warriors and drones. They're more just robots themselves at that point. Anyway, they find this vault, and inside this vault they find a Necron in stasis. But it's not, it's a, not a metal skeleton Necron. It's a flesh and blood Necron. And they're like, whoa. Unfortunately, as we were winding through Willow Creek, we encountered a group of monks walking against the traffic guy. I pressed the accelerator instead of the brake. Excuse me? Kevin? What are you mean to murder? My Jeet Kundo instructor always says, in an emergency, hit the nearest thing as hard as you can. I am a little confused by why you are telling me that. Okay. Anyway, back to the story. Yeah. Anyway, things go down. They're like, whoa, an actual Necron. This could be a huge breakthrough in so many ways, and other things. Plus, there's other good stuff in the vault, and they're dealing with things. And I forget what exactly leads them to realize it, but they realize something's not right with this. This doesn't make sense. Something doesn't add up. Anyway, they realize that it is not a flesh and blood Necron. And spoilers, by the way, you should know this before now. For any of this, if you're listening to this still, it's on you. But they find out that it's not a flesh and blood Necron. It looks like one, but it's not. It is a shard of the Deceiver that has been imprisoned here in this vault. And, I can't remember if it was due to time or if it was due to them coming in. But anyway, the imprisonment is breaking down. And now, if you know the Necrons, you know that them and the shards of the Catan don't get... did I mispronounce that? Probably did. Anyway, don't get along. Because the Star Gods were the ones that turned them into Necrons, or Robo-Necrons in the first place, and deceived them and tricked them, and then they eventually rebelled and killed their gods, essentially, and used them as batteries. But the shards of the Deceiver is called that because he's the one that, convinced the Necrons to go through his biotransference first, if I remember correctly. So he's kind of like the big bad one one of the big bad ones that they really don't like. And a whole battle breaks loose with Orkin and Trazen having to work together to defeat this shard of the Deceiver and prevent it from getting loose and causing who knows what other trouble for the Necrons overall, because it's a fairly good chunk of the Deceiver, because the shard, the reason it's called a shard is because it's literally a shard. It's hard to kill a Star God, so they broke them into pieces. Lots and lots of pieces, and this one is like 5 different pieces altogether, if I remember right, or something stupid like that. And that's still a pretty broken up Star God, but it's still insanely powerful, like rewrite reality powers and all sorts of insanity. So they're trying to deal with this mess, and we get Trazen, like, if you want something, there's like a reason to use his collection. Shard of the Deceiver is one of them. So he's Pokemon going whole armies of mind-shackled regiments, like some guardsmen, space marines, like full armies of them, and some other things involved. And all they know is, whoa, wow, what, we're in battle. That is obviously a Xenos monstrosity we need to fight, being the shard, that is. And the mind shackles basically don't let them see Trazen as Trazen, and so they think he's like their commanding officer, like Lord Solar or something like that. So they're taking orders from him to go fight that thing. And yeah, so tons of chaos breaking loose, all sorts of fighting. Orkin has been working on some things, theories, powers, and whatnot, and finding ways to become more powerful himself. And he kind of, Orkin unlocks God mode. He's like, he basically finds a way to, like, through stellar alignments and whatnot, become insanely powerful for a short period of time. And he basically becomes a Star God himself for a bit. And it allows him to... unfortunately, it also comes with some issues of him kind of being about as bad as them in a lot of ways. And, like, he actually eats some shards of the Deceiver, if I remember right. Like, the shards of the Deceiver the Star Gods tend to eat other pieces of themselves to become more whole and all that. Well, Orkin eats some of the shards himself and becomes more powerful like that as well. And other things go on, and he's figuring out more about his powers, and yeah, crazy stuff all goes down. Long story short, they win the battle against the Deceiver and work on cleanup and other things, and that planet that they were on is pretty wrecked because everything's gone bad there. But yeah, but they stopped the shards of the Deceiver from getting loose, and we get some interesting things that have led me to have some really high hopes that there will be a future book building off of it. Because, once again, like I said, Orkin's whole power-up did come at a cost. He really, like, fried a bunch of his circuits and kind of burned himself black, if I remember right. Like, he went full god mode, and it overloaded him badly. But he's learned a lot as a result of how to enter into that state a lot more effectively and be able to control it more. And yeah, so he wants to find more god shards to devour and become more powerful himself and become more like them. Meanwhile, Trazen has kept a shard of the Deceiver. And he wants it, and the reason he's kept it is because he wants to ask it questions. So we get at the end there, he's like bargaining with a shard for information, and he bargains by going, "All right, here's a tiny shard of Catan of one of the Catans, or yeah, here's another shard for you to eat. It's not enough for you to get powerful enough to break out of my containment for you, but, you know, that's part of the deal. You get this little shard of power, and in exchange, you answer my questions." Like, and he's asking questions like, how do I enter into the warp? I don't know why Tracy wants to get into the warp, but generally Necrons can't. They don't travel via the warp, they travel via other faster-than-light tech. And they normally can't get into the warp because the warp is, you know, the place of souls. And guess what they don't have? Souls. And there's a whole lot more in this story, by the way, like that I've skipped over and not gone into detail on. Discussions about the whole biotransference thing come up, all sorts of craziness. It's great. Check out this book. It's amazing. And it's hilarious. It has that really sweet balance of humor throughout. It makes it fun to read. Alright, I need to start using Shirt Finder a lot more here. We're starting to get to that point where, so this is actually hard to tell. But, yeah, highly recommend this book. It's awesome. Read it. Check it out for yourself, or if you're not much of a reader, get the audiobook. It's worth it. That is one that I could say is very worth reading. So much fun. And, yeah, the whole Trazen asking about how to get into the warp. That is like, oh, okay. I really, really, really hope that there will be a future book with Trazen in the warp, trolling the Chaos Gods. Like, stealing a skull from Khorne's throne. Or, you know, surviving through the various trials of Slanesh. Because he's a robot who can swap bodies if he actually dies and all that fun junk. So a lot of stuff probably doesn't affect him nearly as much as it would most other mortals. And, oh man, you know, I don't even want to know what he... Ooh. If he got into Nurgle's garden, he might be able to rescue the Shard of Isha. Not Shard of Isha, the goddess of healing or whatever that Nurgle has captured. He could totally and would totally rescue her. For his collection, of course. But, you know, under new management in that regard for Isha would probably still be worth it. And, I could totally see Trazen doing that. And Tzeentch, oh, Trazen would take so many of his things. There are so many things there that Trazen would love to take, I bet. And also, I bet I would not put it past Trazen to want to try to make a demon display in his on Slumnist in his museum planet. Yes, museum planet. I could totally see Trazen trying to find a way to basically stabilize warp entities in stasis outside of the warp so that he can have them on display. He would totally do that. It is 100% a Trazen would do that. So, yeah, I really want to see a follow-up book, but I know it's unlikely to happen, or if it does happen, it's probably going to take a while because that's going to be some hard junk to write, and to write well. But, oh, it would be so good. And just hilarious. And like I said, I skipped over a lot. Probably didn't do it justice in telling you about some of the awesomeness in the story. Check it out for yourselves. Yeah, that's my discussion. That's my TED Talk for today. Check out that book. It's amazing. Okay, where's this dirty one? There we go. This one? Yeah, this one. This one. There we go. There's some dirt on that. Okay, that is the hole is dirty. That's clean. Once again, the horse's support rods are very dirty. I have to get some special blasting in there to get the rust. Let's focus on the bigger spots, though, that I can just get normally. Okay, the trim along the edge of this whole place seems to be a problem. I'm going to have to get out on the roof at some point as well. Alright. Anyway, that's the Infinite and the Divine rough breakdown. Highly recommend it. It's great. Check it out. Good times. Alright. Well, if you don't want to stick around for the rest of this, I don't blame you. I'm going to probably actually continue on in quiet for the rest of this and just talk about if more text pops up, I'll talk. But I think that's enough talking out of me for now. I'm actually going to just focus on cleaning and resting my voice a bit because, as you can probably tell, my voice is still black. It was good enough for me to talk for a bit, but I kind of don't want to overdo it. Oh, this is filthy. Yuck. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get out onto the roof of this thing and go all around it. Ah, this is gonna be such a pain to get the outer edge. Alright, metal bits all over the place there are gonna be problematic. Let me check the shop. Yes! I'm all of it. Wait, I haven't tried this out, have I? Oh, I should have done this one sooner. That's great. Contains maximum pressure, but also still spreads over an area without me having to move it around as much. I should have used this one sooner. I didn't even think about it. that's so good for the rust. Removal. Great. Because as much as I would I could use the metal cleaner, that'd probably be workable. It also would not be nearly as effective in a lot of ways because of a lot of these rusty areas are just thin holes, and the sprayer is a very large area otherwise. I wonder who uses this. Seems like someone put a lot of graffiti all over this place. Okay, that distance is too far away still. Good spot. Go. Go. Oh, I wonder if I have to run the carousel to get the horses to move up and down the poles a bit and to get some of the parts of the poles. I wonder if that's why I need to do some of this. Well, let's try something. Yep, that's what it is. So the poles go up and down, so I have to bring the horses up and down to get some parts of the poles. Hopefully this music isn't copyrighted. Okay, I think that did the trick. Let's get along the edges. There we go. Nice. Right. That's still really satisfying being all that clean. Alright, we're still missing a little bit on the carousel platform itself. Looks like mostly in the cracks. There we go. Alright. Something central pole base. Something in here is missed. There we go. There we go. I saw that. Where was it? Where was it? Where was it? One of these things is not clean as it should be. Cresting trim. Is that what it was? The cresting trim? That should be that there. There we go. Come on. Where's the spot on the trip? Alright, let's get here. There's that better. Ooh, maybe this actually might work better. It does that outer area move. Or just the inner portion. Okay, just the inner portion. Never mind. If the outer area spun around with it a bit, then it would be useful for cleaning without me having to move stuff. But since it's not, we do it this way. All the filth. Alright, okay. On over. This one's worth using the metal cleaner on. It's really bad. It's rust, and it's a big enough spot I could just kind of hit all of it fairly effectively. go. There we go. This looks so much nicer now. Although my shrew-like reflexes saved the lives of the monks, my helter-skelter fell off the toad and rolled down the entire creek. I'm getting a sense that we're going to be cleaning this helter-skelter in the future. Bad news, it's covered in everything, from tertiary chalk to Permian mudstone. Good news, it represents a thorough illustration of our geologic past. Interesting. Alright, now let's work on lower areas, and we'll worry about nitpicking spots if we need to get the rest. Getting the back of these should do a lot of work on what I need. Oh, we're going to do it in little pieces like that? That's not how I thought that was going to go. I thought it was going to be one whole roof piece. Alright. Oh, this is filthy. I think this part would be a little less filthy just from exposure to the elements, since this part would actually get rain and stuff on. But, well. think that's enough for me to drop. There we go. So much better. Definitely need the ladder here, though, to really make this work. Good, good. That was weird. Okay, try that again. Most of the way down to this place. go. I think this is worth using some of this on, given how messy that is. Man, this thing is taking a lot more work than I thought it was going to. We're making progress. I feel like we're almost done. Big difference. Okay. There we go. Rust. Okay, almost done. Just a few more pieces. Looks like this is a big part of it right here. Been difficult. There we go. Alright. One more frame. One more cresting pad. Alright. Cresting frame. Right. Phew. That was a lot of work. But it looks so much better than it did. Phew. Carousel looks incredible. The others are going to lose it when they see it. I could practically smell that hard cash in my hands already. Thanks so much. A drill and treehouse. Drill? What? Alright, that'll be a fun one for next time. But for now, I need to call it a night. Thanks everyone so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. Hit like and subscribe to keep up with new releases if you haven't done so already. Comments below. What did you think about Is the Infinite Divine if you read that? Or what do you think about the game so far? Have you done this one? How do you feel about it? Least favorite part? Most favorite part? I like that this one had moving components. Excuse me. But also it had some really annoyingly hard to hit the right spots on it. We'll wait, hold on a second. Before we go. Hello, gnomes. I see you hiding. Alright. Well, that's it for tonight, everyone. Good night. Bye.